that happened. He went away for a couple of years and came back, and he's not a big star, but he's around.
Well, when was the last time you bought a Chris Brown record?
I don't buy his records.
Brilliant. He beat Rihanna to a pulp, and he's still a multi-millionaire.
That's true.
Producing artist,
right? Which that's
yeah, but there's like
separate argument. But the thing is,
really
we're talking about people that have an attraction to other people and actually bring money for other people and actually create jobs for other people and have a fan base that people are willing to just let's just sweep that under the covers and avoid it, and then the whole PR marketing must be talking about the Kremlin again. Machine will go out and then start saying good things, so people just happen to forget. It's like,
and also with Chris Brown, he did go to prison for a while. He did get convicted for what he did.
Yeah, but look at Mike Tyson, yeah, right, convicted rapist.
Yep.
Bite someone's ear, but now he's doing films. He's going to be in Ip Man 3.
Yep.
So and there's still a lot of people say, even though what he did, a lot of people, oh yeah, Mike Tyson, I'm going to see him in Britain when he came. I don't know, just maybe people just fickle or don't care because it hasn't happened to them.
I agree.
So I've just lost a bit of hope in humanity.
I didn't really do that, but
it's not your fault. Like I said, I agree with you guys, and I just want to see what the view is out there, because it confuses me. It sends out messages to me.
I'm not confused.
I am confused in the sense that it's like people pick and choose what they want to be angry about these days, and people are quite open about their rage a lot of the time, especially online or on Facebook.
But how is it different from before? People always pick and choose what they're angry about. That goes throughout history.
No, but I think sometimes even people that I used to consider quite rational have gone down a route which I don't quite understand. I left a group page on Facebook today because, as you guys know, I'm an atheist and I'm quite open about it. I don't hide that, right? And on this group page I was belonging to, which was the Pastafarian Spaghetti Monster, which is a running joke in the atheist community, right? And they put a picture up about a story about a guy who apparently got beaten up because he asked a bunch of black guys about Ferguson. Now that's just a story, right? Which is something that happened in the States where a kid was shot by a police officer, right? But then under that was loads of racist comments and people saying really racist statements. And as an atheist, I find that quite disturbing that you claim to be rational, but you take on the tropes of complete and utter racism. And lots of people were making comments and saying really racist stuff. No, and these were people that normally, if I had discussions with them, they were really rational.
No, but how can you be surprised that at the end of the day, whatever group these people are, they're part of society, so therefore they're going to have various views, so I'm not surprised.
I would also go as far to be maybe slightly contentious on this and say people that do that are either ignorant or naive and think it's just a bit of fun and will join in and start to write something that is could be in their minds humorous or funny to the herd mentality and the other people there. They see that feed, it ends up becoming a bit of a meme, and they just feed that flame. But the thing is, they don't have the ability or haven't ever had anything in their lives to connect to that experience in the first place, and so don't have any emotional connection or empathy to it, and so it's completely callous. But if you were to stick them in that situation, then it would flip on its head, I think, without a doubt. And so is that losing faith in humanity, or is that, it's visual, it's not near me, it's a NIMBY?
How can I put it? It was more that it was just a rather disappointing situation to be in, because it was kind of like the atheist community likes to pride itself on being rational and having rational discussion, but actually what I find a lot more time, especially when they get anywhere near a computer, is rational flies out the window, and that's the disappointing side of it for me. Do you know what I mean? It's not that I'm surprised as such, disappointment is more which, what hits me in situations like that more than anything else.
So what, disappointment in the way that they decide to express themselves?
Yeah, and that's, look, I'm not naive. I'm not shy. I like comedy. I like making people laugh, and I like being offended sometimes by jokes or stories that people will say me. But these people weren't joking. If they were joking, they weren't very funny.
Well, go on to something like 4chan, which actually end up becoming anonymous, or where anonymous spawned from. Yeah, go on to 4chan. It's disgusting.
So what is 4chan?
4chan is basically a cyber group that is set up to be the most disgusting, horrific and horrible things that you could ever say about anything in a feed, and it's an ongoing feed, and you can write anything about any image or any little video segment, and it's disgusting. You go into it, and then there's kind of breakdowns of it. One of the groups is called B or /B/, and you go onto that, and that is considered the worst place to go and expect to be offended immediately, because people are trying to do it. They are the trolls of the internet that are trying to offend you. So I mean, it's actually been partitioned off into some sort of disgusting area, but then hell, look on LiveLeak, go to anywhere on the internet, you can find that stuff immediately. You know, it's crazy what's out there.
Losing it. All right.
And are these people the killers themselves? That's the question.
I'm like I said, I'm always, I like debate, as you know. I like discussion. I like people opening up and saying how they feel about stuff. But sometimes I think people need to shut the hell up, shut their computers down, and walk away.
People should go outside more.
Yes,
they should meet people, talk to real people.
What you should
come and join us
down at the Lazy Fox every 8 p.m. on a Sunday evening. Yes, this is disorderly conduct. Now, before we leave it, I just want to go to this story quickly. We were going to do a few other stories, but we're going to come to this story. I haven't given you guys a heads up on this because I just want to get your opinion on it quick.
Okay.
It's a news story that came out this week. 1 in 20 students taking up sex work to pay their way through university, research reveals. Now, this comes on the head, and this isn't a big
1
issue.
in 20.
Yeah.
So
where did this statistic come from?
What, in this country or America?
This is students in the UK. Okay. This is students who are being open about it. All right. As always, surveys. Stories like this have been coming out for years.
I think survey says.
But just like whether or not the figures are correct. With education the way it is, especially if it's costing a lot more money now.
Yeah.
Do you blame students for doing that?
Couldn't they get another job? I don't get it.
Is it to fund a heroin habit that throughout university?
The sheer amount
to
of money
fund university.
Isn't there Tesco's? Isn't there McDonald's? Isn't there?
Yeah, but how much are you going to make out of Tesco's and McDonald's? Do you know what I mean?
No, but still,
like if you're looking at maybe 50 grand, how much is a student degree now? It's like 20, 30, 40 grand now.
Yeah, no, you'd have to pay it back straight away.
30, yeah.
So again,
yeah, but you live in debt for a long period of your life.
That's life, isn't it?
Whoa.
No, I like this. But like I said, the immediate response is to have sympathy for people doing that type of thing, and maybe that may be part of the problem. There are plenty of jobs out there. Why are you doing that instead of getting a job? Because my God, even no matter what degree you end up getting, you're surely going to be thinking about. Anytime anybody mentions your degree, you're like, we all do it. If you've done something wrong and anybody mentions anything associated with that, you're going to remember that for the rest of your life. Surely,
maybe they're going to write a book about it, like that woman Belle de Jour. Maybe that's what it's about. Oh, she did it. So why don't I try it? Oh, this is what I did in my gap year. I don't know.
But as long as they're not doing it because they are depressed and they think that's the only thing that they can do, then otherwise I think it's probably fine. If it's not going to screw with their head and how they develop as a human being and the negative choices they make in the future, if it's going to do that, then they should avoid it. But how would they know in the first place? Otherwise, if it's just making money, then and they can handle that kind of stuff going on and use their body as a tool to make money, then what's the problem?
And just so you know,
HIV,
apparently,
AIDS,
according to the survey,
You've got to be careful.
Men are more likely to be involved than women. So that's
1 in 20.
Really?
Yeah,
1 in
men
20.
are more likely to be involved than women. So that's quite
Okay.
You tell me, for every 20,000 students, there are 1,000 students in the sex trade.
Don't
you
be
really tell me that?
surprised.
How many students
Do not be
are there in the UK? How many students are there in the UK?
a couple of million, I would have thought.
So you're telling me, okay? Let me try and do some quick math. It's not going well. 1 sec.
I remember.
Just so you know, they questioned 6,750 students.
And so, 1,000 of those are... No, it's going to be less. Under 500 of those worked in the sex industry. So, let's say men in university actually go, oh, that's quite funny. I'm going to stick, yes, I do. And then they do. And so, we get a statistic of 1 in 20. Sorry, don't believe you.
I don't know. I reckon it's
1 in 20.
Right.
Come on.
I really would not be surprised.
About it. You get the what's it called? The naked butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that. So
escorts and that stuff.
I'm talking. Yeah, so it could be something quite simple, like not so degrading.
Not actual sex.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it could be
sex isn't degrading.
No, well, it depends who you're dealing with. Right?
That's true.
Wasn't me.
Right.
It's never degraded.
Right. Okay. I mean, if I'm saying if it's like the naked butler, he has the apron on, whatever.
Yeah.
Bends over, whatever.
Or the nappy spankers.
The head light,
sure.
The head light, or the strippers.
Yeah.
Or the male lap dancers and stuff like that. So
that all comes under the remit of sex industry.
It does say here though, 1 in 20 students are selling their bodies for sex. So it does particularly say that they're actually selling sex. They're not doing that.
But maybe you have these new things like those webcams, and they just do it with themselves.
It's true.
That's true.
I do know a few girls who have done that in the past, and
how will you know?
What are their handles?
I know them quite well. They're just friends of mine.
How much did you spend?
Nothing, man. It's free. No, I'm a celebrity. No, but
friends with benefits.
Yeah, but no, it's like it's one of those things. I know in the States it happens a lot. I don't, they may be just doing it with friends. I don't know. But
seriously worried about you.
Are you honestly? But seriously, are you honestly surprised by that figure? Because I'm not.
1 in 20, I am. I think it's rubbish.
All right, no, because I think there's a lot of money in it. I think
of course,
the students are under a lot more pressure.
I agree, but 1 in 20, that means one person in every lecture room in the country is in the sex trade.
But also, I think that maybe, they did say a lot more research needed to be done.
No shit.
It's a question of how you do that research. Hello, will you pay? Can I pay you for sex? I don't know if you can go to students and... Sorry.
I went to this talk on Friday, and this woman... I'm not sure if I should promote her website.
Don't say her name.
No, she'll be fine about it if I did.
Okay.
Her name's Cindy Gallop, and she... I'm not sure what to say the website.
And send the lawsuits
in? I
in?
not, because I'll be promoting her website. Okay, let's skip this.
Okay, we'll move on.
She's going in there now, she's come back again.
And that's how the sex trade happens.
I personally am not surprised by that figure, and also I would say it's probably a bit worse than that for some students. I don't know though, and I'm only going by the research that has been done by this very reputed doctor.
Yeah.
And I can only go by that at the moment, but...
Is reputed a word?
Rasputin, maybe.
Reputed, isn't it?
Reputed, that's the word. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Right, okay, alright, we're going to do these ones quickly. My question I want to ask you is that with lots of billionaires giving away a lot of money at the moment, Bill Gates, half his fortune, he's trying to convince other big dollar bag dudes to do the same, giving away half their earnings, half the money they've made in their lifetime to charity. Is that a great way to go? Is charity the way to save the world? Because a lot of people have been saying recently it's not, and it actually causes more problems. But in defense of that, Bill Gates, his project was to stop malaria, and they're saying in the next 10 years malaria could be gone.
Well,
and that's a pretty big feat if you know how many people used to die from...
He's given away half of his hard-earned cash, but that's still leaving him with $25 billion.
To invest in other things. We don't know. He may give more. He's just kind of trying to convince other wealthy people to do the same. He said in the past he'll give most of his money to charity. The guy who runs Apple at the moment says he's giving the majority of his money to charity as well once he's wrapped up. These guys are giving more money than governments are giving to charitable causes.
I think that is really good, but I always wondered, maybe, because why didn't they, if they got so much money, why didn't they choose a country and just write off their debt? Maybe that would help. No, the whole 2000
I think-
supposed to Jubilee.
I think Good Luck Jonathan would suddenly have a couple more holiday homes.
No, they choose particular companies, particular countries. I don't know what the criteria is. Obviously not too corrupt, and maybe that would help. So therefore, that money, instead of wasting money on debt, they can use it to improve the infrastructure, their schools. I think that would. For me,
I'm with you to a point, but I think it's far more complex than that.
Yeah, of course.
And it would take too much micromanagement of every dollar that is spent to know where that's going. Is it going into the right hands? How's it getting there? What's the transportation mechanism? What's it going to increase? How do you benchmark that? How do you know it's gone better from where it's come from?
Some kind of there's some kind of guarantee, some kind of condition. I don't know.
I personally like the way they're doing it. Can I just say, just simply because of the fact they're going directly to the people. The one thing, especially with governments, is bureaucracy is a very powerful thing, and that's why a lot of these governments are in debt. Because even if they paid off that debt, you've got a lot of companies and governments who put them in that debt, who will just get them in that debt again. They'll do things like, we'll give you money, we'll give you this amount of money if you buy this of us. We'll do this, and they'll just go down that route. They're getting it directly to the people that need it, and I think that's the beauty of what these guys are doing.
See, I think that way of doing it is probably the best way of being able to do it. You kind of bypass, you become an NGO yourself, bypass the corrupt systems in place, because most of the countries in the world work on a system of barter and corruption, rather than something that seems to be above board like the UK and US, maybe.
No, UK so corrupt. We'll talk about it in next week's show. But
I agree about bypassing the government, but at the same time, usually you still got to get a contract. You still got to pay for someone, whatever.
Still got to bribe them, yeah.
And that's why. So I don't know.
But to say to use it to write off another country's debt, I understand the ideology behind it, but I think it's partially unrealistic.
I know, but it may be, but we need to have some kind of ideals. But so my always thought, maybe choose a country, whatever has a particular standard, write off their debt, just write it all off, then use another portion of the money just to go straight to some hospitals or something like that. So therefore they got no excuse, and if it does happen again, but at least you give them a chance. Maybe it's being naive, but I would just think possibly.
I guess the cynic inside me says, then how do you manage that? How do you get those people trained correctly? How do you improve that to the point that you would think it has got?
You get good people who care about their country, care about the welfare of their citizens, and you get the right people. It's always about getting the right people.
Which
people
is a problem, because if any company, if Bill Gates goes into a country and goes, I'll write off your debt as long as you do A, B, C, D, you get the problem that a lot of charitable things have tried to do. You'll get that problem that go, well, you can't tell us what to do. Who are you to tell us what to do? And that's why a lot of these countries now go to places like China and go, just give us your oil and your gas, and we'll give you whatever amount of money you want. And that's where the problem is. It doesn't end up going to the people, and that's the terrifying thing about the situation we have now. Now, sorry, I did say we're in a rush. We have a few moments left.
Okay.
So I'll use these moments to go. One, ladies and gentlemen, the election is coming up. Please register to vote. And do you know what? Even if you go in and write none of the above, Brewster's Million style, just vote. Get registered. I know a lot of you, I've spoken to so many people, especially young people this week, who've gone, well, who do I vote for? They're not doing anything for me. And I go to them, it's because the people in power already don't want you to know what's going on. Why don't you know? Why aren't they communicating with you over Facebook? Why aren't they sending you letters about what's going on in your local area? And the only way to change that is if you vote. So register, check out some parties, see if they align with you. Even if you do end up voting for the Monster Raven Looney Party, I'd rather you vote than not, because the biggest problem isn't that people are voting UKIP, it's that people are not voting.
Does that still exist?
Yep, it's still there. It's still there and very much still going. It's just not as popular as UKIP, because UKIP are just, they've sort of jumped to the forefront.
Yeah, UKIP, I'll stay awake, okay?
Loads of parties are out there, James. I promise you, I did a little bit of research last week, and in various areas you've got 24 candidates in each election. People just don't pay attention to them, and they are there. There's people out there. If you do a little bit of research, I'm going to speak to a lovely young lady on Twitter who communicated me, who's an independent in Reading, and she's got a few policies. Some I do agree, some I don't agree with, but I reckon it'll be a great conversation to be had with her and see what she says.
Absolutely. I think people should look at the local politician that actually says something to them, that seems to be saying the right thing in an honest way, and it's something slightly different, because at the moment we're just going to get more of the same. And the thing is, although that might be considered a wasted vote because those people will never get into power anyway, it is a clear indication of the state of the nation.
I don't think we'll get more of the same, because if there's going to be a hung parliament, and there's the issue of Scotland, of Demo Max, so I think we definitely got to vote, and just be careful with how you vote, and vote for whoever you believe in.
Right, at this rate, it's going to be a coalition government again.
Yeah.
Con Lib Lab. What the hell?
No, don't do that.
Con Lib Lab UKIP. Oh my God!
I already wake up in cold sweats as it is already just thinking about.
It may be that we may have a coalition government.
Just vote. I'm going to vote. I won't tell you who I'm going to vote, but do it, ladies and gentlemen. This was Disorderly Conduct. Sebastian, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. Loved it.
Colleen, thank you for joining me.
Goodbye.
We'll be back next week with more talk, more chat. Please leave your comments on the website. In fact, just come down and join us. We're here. We'll accept you. Ladies and gentlemen, have a nice night.